All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography biz. We're actually going to check out, see if it's local and city, combined local city search here, has BSS, yes or no. So we're back here in the GBC universe. So we take declining boudoir photographers, make them into the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More of that and, like the pinned post or whatever, featured post on this profile. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So for rising, we're probably getting everyone across the entire intent spectrum, the intent ladder here. High intent on the left, lowest intent over on the right. And if a boudoir photographer, their business is falling, probably missing chunks of people here in the intent spectrum. So here we talk about way on the left, BSS. So we're focusing on the highest intent people, the people searching for boudoir photo shoots in their city right now on social media and in Google search. So closest to the money, easiest to close. And way over at the other end, that's the lowest intent people in our city. Got to reach them with interruption ads via Instagram and Facebook. Maybe they know what boudoir is. Maybe they've never heard of it. We got to educate them. And so that's what we talked about on our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We talked about BLCS. And right now we're only working with boudoir. Over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers, spending more than 10 grand per month on boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so boudoir search sameness, BSS, that's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on Google, on page 1 of Google search for the highest intent keywords. So 0 slots, we're going to be dead soon if we got 0 slots on page 1. That's because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1. They're page 1 only. So that means approximately 20% go to page 2 and deeper. So we care about this 80%, the bulk of the market. This is who we're going to focus on. So if we got 0 slots, we're invisible to 80% of the market, which means we're basically an invisible business. If we got 1 slot, we're still essentially invisible because we look the same as everyone else. If there's 10 organic slots page 1 on Google, if other peeps, if there's 9 other boudoir photographers than us, that means, we got 1 link same as everyone else, and a buyer's just going to go down page 1 Google search, control click, right click, open a new tab, everyone, shoot a message to everyone, get price quotes, compare pricing, and price shop, everyone on page 1. But if we can get more real estate on page 1 and fewer competitors on page 1, we actually get price shop less. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google is not normal. It's extremely common, but it's not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which basically everyone knows about, and the previously unknown root cause, which we now know, is actually the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, that's when someone gets a new phone, they are a new iPhone, and they throw up their own Google My Business profiles, and then actually boudoir, they got their own website. They're trying to compete with us for page 1 Google supremacy. And as a result, we also got people getting a new camera, then they start posting the mom groups on Facebook, and they also offer boudoir photography. So market saturation means more sellers to the same number of buyers. That's literally what it means. It means it's harder and harder for each seller to win. So everyone understands also big market saturation happened during COVID. People couldn't work, people lost their jobs, and they had to, big flood of boudoir photographers came into the market then because people had to, because they needed to earn money somehow. Now, the previously unknown root cause, the second one, is the false belief of page 1 equality. And what that is, so the default belief of page 1 equality, which kind of people automatically accepted, they didn't really think about it because there was no term to actually describe it, is actually kind of assuming or just accepting that, every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google for their website, and if the market gets saturated, it pushes off page 1 to page 2, because some new websites ranking higher. Well, that's how it is, and that's simply how it is, whatever. That's the game, and hopefully someone deletes their website, so maybe we can get back on page 1 and Google lets us back in. But no, that is 100% false. That is a false belief, and we have to simply accept that. what I've discovered is Google will actually give us as many links and slots on page one Google search as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And I use this strategy that we're going to talk about to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page one to 9 out of 10 slots on page one of Google search in 10 days. So we'll talk about that in like 3 or 4 more pictures here. Next up, we know that Boudoir photographer with BSS, Boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing Boudoir photographer. So if we got 0 slots on page one, we're on page two, we're invisible to the 80%, approximately 80% bulk of the market. Disappearing Boudoir photographer, we got disappeared onto page two. And if we're, one slot on page one of Google, then we're also disappearing because we're not visible. I mean, people don't see no difference between us and everyone else on page one of Google. Literally nothing different. And there's a clicking price shop plus everyone down page one. And again, approximately 80% of Google searches never even go to page two. So we don't got to worry. We literally don't have to worry about page one. And disappearing Boudoir photographer, basically it's the canary in the coal mine. If one becomes a disappearing Boudoir photographer, pretty soon thereafter, the Boudoir photography business will disappear as well. But now we have a solution. So we now know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology that we invented. And again, this is exactly the strategy, the methodology I use to go from 0 out of 10 slots on Google page one to 9 out of 10 slots on Google page one in 10 days. And this is the only strategy for boudoir photographers that I've seen that can actually successfully fight back and against market saturation and continue to grow market share. And so it works by, and we'll go deeper into it, but the name, social search saturation. We saturate social search for our highest intent keywords. It's kind of like the feeder rivers, small feeder rivers from the Andes Mountains and to the Amazon. And kind of all that reputation, the keyword dominance on search flows into the Amazon River, page one Google search, and the pages thereafter for what we want to rank for. And so, yeah, this is the only thing that I've seen that successfully fights back against market saturation and basically kind of makes it null and void. Because imagine we're in Las Vegas, imagine there's 1 million boudoir photographers total, we're one of them. Everyone's got a boudoir photography website, everyone's trying to rank on Google, page one Google. But if we crank up S-cube methodology to the maximum, and let's say we rank, the first 300 slots across all social platforms for search, and as a result, we also rank the first 300 slots Google for search for the highest intent keywords for boudoir photographer buyers. Then anytime a buyer in our city literally searches anywhere, most likely Google, 90% of searches still, approximately 90% of searches still happen on Google. Then we got the first 300 slots and there's 10 organic slots per page. We got the first 30 pages all to ourselves for the organic slots. And all the other competitors in organic, they start on page 31. No one's going to page 31. So even if the market's ultra saturated with 1 million boudoir photographers, whose business is still growing? Ours. Whose business is disappearing? All the other boudoir photographers, because they cannot be found. And guess what? Approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page two. They're page one only, which means we really only got to worry about page one and take as much, we say a GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 is what we want to take. But, S-cubed methodology gives us a pathway to take as many slots on page one as we want, if we put in the effort to acquire those slots. Now, once treated with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. A bonus of this is every new slot we take on Google page one is we are kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. Again, that's because we actually know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page two. They're page one only searches. And that's all we care about. This is the bulk of the market, the approximately 80% of searches that happen like this. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. Now, our GBC recommended is always to hit 3 out of the 10 slots on page one, and that helps with boudoir search visibility because everyone else is going to have most likely 1 slot on page one. So when they see 3 versus 1, when buyers see 3 versus 1, they're instinctively going to say, wow, why is Google recommending this person so many different times? Um, you know, I'll just go with this person that's got the 3 slots. There is a tiny, tiny, tiny chance that another boudoir photographer will have 2 slots, but those tiny chances are 3 slots will always overwhelm them. So that's why we want boudoir search visibility. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our full micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. We now know it's false, but when people believed it prior, they never thought to try a solution to overcome it because they thought it was just the default, just how it is. But we've proven, we'll see in the next picture, proven that that's incorrect. We now have the path, we now have the solution, our own proprietary S-cubed methodology to achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, and to have boudoir search visibility. So my results using S-cubed methodology for myself. So I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. So I employed S-cubed methodology. Go down to the organics here. So we got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots, Google search page 1, in 10 days. Exclusively using S-cubed methodology, and I was using on the minimum setting, like kind of the minimum, kind of the minimum frequency. So you can see the results that I got. Now, main event here, we're going to check out this boudoir photography business, going to check out their local and city search. Looks like we got them combined here. Their local and city search, and see if they got BSS, yes or no. So we're going to Kalamazoo, Michigan. All right, so we're over here in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Let's see what we got. Kalamazoo. All right, boom, we got one. All right, we got 2. All right, so we got, all right, so for local / city search combined, we got 2 out of 10 page 1 slots in Google, so do not have BSS, but we are not meeting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search. And so these are the results that we see. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've done the local search for the highest intent keywords in your city that buyers would be searching, you're seeing, you've got BSS at the local level or the city level or both, or, you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google organic search, then, so you're seeing you got BSS and you're seeing S-cubed methodology is the one solution for you, the one path forward. And, you want more slots on page 1. You also want the extra bonus of kicking out competitors from page 1, because now for approximately 80% of searchers, you won't be compared against them. The more we can kick off competitors off page 1, the better. And you want to use S-cubed methodology because the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, the false belief. You know that Google actually wants to and will give as many number 1 slots to whoever wants to put in the effort to take them. You understand market saturation, get new phones, market's getting saturated more, boudoir photographers get new camera, saturating boudoir photographers more. And you're also seeing into the future where AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs. It's just going to be pushing more and more boudoir photographers into the market over time, or at least pushing more people to become boudoir photographers into the market over time because it's higher ticket. And look, everyone's got an amazing camera attached to their phone. So if you're seeing that and you realize, man, you want the initial benefits, but you also want the fortification benefits of S-cubed methodology to basically have a higher momentum wall of any new to market boudoir photographers from ranking on page 1, taking those slots away from you. And so you're seeing all that. You want these kind of initial benefits. You you want to achieve page one visibility, you want to become a visible boudoir photographer, you want to achieve boudoir search visibility because you know you need all those things to be the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also want these extra few backend bonuses as well, which is kind of the more you successfully execute S-cubed methodology, the more we're building up kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns kind of attached to our brand, attached to our social accounts, attached to our name, our business name, kind of building up these invisible spokes connecting to our central hub that are building up the mindshare for us in the minds of AI search. So every day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology, and those all those initial benefits, then the extra backend benefit of higher chance we're the only one recommended here on AI Overview, premium placement above all other options. For every day we execute S-cubed methodology correctly, and higher chance we are recommended via AI search, which is, basically ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Kind of, we're building up this brain space momentum in the back end in AI's, AI brain for a higher chance they recommend us through AI search with all these platforms. Because, we'll eventually build up enough invisible thematic keyword columns connected to us, which is what AI loves. And so backend benefits with that. And also, the final backend benefit is every day we do this, we're pulling away from current boudoir photographers, building up all these initial benefits and the momentum to the future benefits, the domination of AI search. So remember last time I searched for boudoir photographers in a city, it recommended me 3, but I actually went and searched on my own, and there's like 60. So we're getting the initial benefits, page 1, kicking people off page 1, so they're no longer findable. We are increasing mindshare for AI in the back end, for AI Overview, Google search, and all traditional AI search recommending us as well. And we actually, the more action we take now to separate us from current competitors and future competitors, the more momentum we build up, the harder and harder it will be for anyone to catch us. Because right now my plan is to only work with 1 boudoir photographer per city, which means we won't be, all the competitors will be left in the dust. But conversely, if you're seeing all that, you decide you're going to be the first mover of your city. Conversely, if a competitor moves first, then we'll be making all the initial benefits and future momentum towards future benefits with them. And you'll actually have to rederive or derive for the first time your own S-cubed methodology, figure out how to do it yourself. And then you have to go execute it, which you will not be 100% confident in because you will not know if you've successfully derived it for yourself, yes or no. You'd have to equal our execution to maintain the gap of yourself and me and your competitor. And you'd actually have to outwork us by 2 or 3x to, basically close the gap, pull back the brain space momentum, those invisible thematic keyword columns from AI that's going to your competitor back to you. And dude, who's got the time? There's only 24 hours in the day. How are you going to outcompete us when I invented this? So if you know you want all that, then shoot me a DM. You want to be a first mover in your city? Shoot me a DM when my DM's open for new patient intake. My DMs are currently not open for new patient intake. But when I do open my DMs for new patient intake, send me a message and we'll see if you qualify to use S-cubed methodology in your business.